Hi, I'm Carrie. You're watching the Kindred Way. Stay tuned for freeze drying. You're gonna learn something today. So every time I freeze dry something, I think I need to make a video. And freeze drying can be a bit pricey. So it took me a long time to decide if I had enough food to freeze dry to pay myself back. And so I bought one that had 4 trays. I think it was the medium one at that time. And I started out with onions and celery and carrots. When I thought my onions might go bad, or I bought 4 things of celery and put 1 on each tray, it was more than I expected. I knew that we were going to preserve food, but the fact that I could cook and just grab the amount of food that I needed that was already freeze dried and just add it to what I was cooking was such a time saver. So I was preserving food, I could buy in bulk, I could make ahead, and I didn't have to stop and chop to make my meal. So today we're going to start off with onions. So if you haven't freeze dried before, this is going to be great. This is one of the good things to start with. Okay, so before I show you the freeze dryer, these are the trays. I got it from Harvest Right, and by the end of this video, or later if you think about it, I do have a link below to, you can go and I have a link below so that you can go to Harvest Right and check it out. See the reviews, see the different machines. My machine was, like I said, I think the medium. When you get to the large ones, you have to have a special plug of 220. And at that time, I didn't think I would have enough food, and I didn't want to mess with having to have a plug put in for that. But if you have a lot of food that you think might go to waste, that larger one might be what you need. So anyway, let's just introduce you to freeze drying if you haven't been freeze drying. So I'm going to slice these onions because I already have onions freeze dried that are diced. So I'm going to slice these. We're going to put them on the trays, and then we're going to put them in our freeze dryer and show you how it works. So let's get slicing. All right. And I'm just going to keep cutting, and really, as long as you have the same thing, I would not put onions on 2 trays and strawberries on 2 trays because I have 4 trays. The onions, they freeze and they dry, and you can smell the onions. So I wouldn't suggest really freeze drying anything else with them. So get all your onions together.
No mixing.
Yeah, don't mix fruit with onions. You can probably mix other vegetables or other fruits together, but with onions, you can probably put a tray of garlic with this. That would be good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this, and I'm just going to take my slices, and we're just going to put them on the tray. So they can overlap a little bit, but not too much, because we really want them individual. But as you can see, they do overlap a bit. It's not like you have a big piece of an onion and another big piece on top. So we're going to do this. There we go. So for celery, since there's 4 trays, I know that when I buy my celery, I buy 4 stalks, and I cut them all up. And because I'm terrible with celery, I mean, I know that when you buy it, you need to use it. I used to say if you wrap celery in aluminum foil, it lasts a lot longer. But I have wasted lots of celery, and so this was actually perfect for what I needed. All right, so we're going to keep on chopping here. I do have some red onions, so you can mix them. If I had yellow onions, I would put them on here too. So I'm gonna chop these up. I'm gonna put them all on my 4 trays. When you get back, I'll let you see that, and then we'll go together to the freeze dryer and show you how it works.
Thousands of tears later.
So let's talk about freeze drying for a minute. So what happens when we put our onion into a freeze dryer? The first thing it does is freeze it. And you'll see on your freeze dryer that the temperature is like 30 below, maybe more. I haven't really paid attention. And if I did, I forgot already. But it gets very cold. It freezes it. Anything that's full of water, any water that's in these onions or anything, strawberries, banana, it freezes that liquid. And then it dries it. So what it's doing is it's taking that moisture that's been frozen and turns it into a vapor, so that it basically dries everything that was frozen. So when you get the onions out, they're going to be light. You've never touched an onion so light in your life because all the moisture is gone. And that's why you can keep your onions for 20 to 25 years when you freeze dry, because there is no moisture. But the minute you open that jar, you get what you want and you shut that airtight jar again, because once moisture comes back into those onions, they will start to rehydrate and they will be bad. So we'll talk about what I use for airtight jars when we get finished here. But right now we have 4 trays. If I had more onions, I probably would have added a few more. Now, some people pre-freeze these so that it doesn't take so long in the freeze dryer. I don't really do that, not because I don't believe in it, but because by the time I have time to actually chop this, I want it in the freeze dryer and I want it going. So that's why I do it like that. If you have time overnight to freeze them and then start your freeze dryer the next day, great, that's awesome. So anyway, right now we're gonna go over to the freeze dryer. I'm gonna explain some things to you and we're gonna put in our onions. Okay, so we have I've already turned on the motor, but you can't hear it because we haven't started yet. And I've turned this on, and as you can see right here, it says the Kindred Way, and you can name your freeze dryer anything you want. So we're going to start. And the screen will change. This walks you through everything that you need to do. Okay, so what it's saying now is cooling vacuum chamber. Wait 15 minutes before loading trays. So this is a good time to finish up any slicing or dicing that you need to do. It will tell us when 15 minutes is up. I have this in my house. Sometimes I store it in my garage, but I don't really freeze dry out there because it's a little warm. Your freeze dryer will tell you when the outside room is too warm. This thing tells you everything, so there's no guessing. So we're gonna wait 15 minutes. Right now it tells us that it's been going for 50 seconds and it's 76 degrees Fahrenheit. So when we come back in 15 minutes, we'll check that again and put our trays in, and we'll watch a little bit to see how it goes down, to keep you updated. And then when it's done, we'll show you what to do. So this is a good beginner course for freeze drying and do something easy. There's lots of things you can do with freeze drying, but we're gonna start small, and we'll be back in 15 minutes to load those trays. Our 15 minutes is up, and it's telling us to load trays into the freeze dryer and then close the drain valve. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna open this up, and my brother's gonna hand me the 4 trays, and we're gonna put them in here. You done messing with that camera?
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. 1. Oops. And I drop an onion on the floor. If I don't drop something in every video, it's not gonna be a successful video. Okay.
Can I put this tray?
You wanna put a tray in? He wants to put a tray in. Oh, and he helped me. Okay. Anyway, so we're gonna close this. You see how it closes? It has a big rubber seal here. So now it says to close the drain valve. So I'm gonna come over here, and over here you'll see this drain valve and this hose. So what happens later, get all the dirt off of it, is when we are finished and we defrost this, we're gonna have a bucket, and this hose will be there, and all that water will go into a bucket. So right now, I'm gonna close the drain valve, and that's exactly what I did. It's turned. So I'm gonna come back over here, and it says continue. Right now, it's 55 degrees. So we've gone down 20 degrees in 15 minutes. So we're gonna hit continue, and now it says it's freezing. Now, I will tell you that sometime if you hit continue and nothing happens, wait. Don't keep hitting continue because there's a glitch in the matrix, okay? So anyway, we're gonna keep this here. Could be 24 hours, it just depends. So I don't think it's real loud. There is a noise. It doesn't bother me. I have kids, but if you're sitting here watching TV, it might bother you. But I don't do this in my garage, like I said before, because my garage is really hot and I'm in Texas. And it would take forever for this to finish. So we're gonna let this freeze, and then we'll come back to see what the temperature is, and we'll show you the process all the way through. So we'll see you, well, for you it'll be just a few minutes, but for me it's gonna be a few hours. So we're on our way. Oh, come on. Hi y'all, welcome back. It is the next day, and it's been going for 17 hours and 34 minutes. It doesn't seem that long because we were asleep most of the time. It's 135 degrees. Last night, before we went to bed, it was at -11, and it was still in the freezing mode. So once it freezes, then it heats up and it vacuums. So right now it's actually drying. It has 3 minutes left. So, and it says extra dry time, probably because I wasn't here when it initially stopped, and it'll allow you to add more drying time. So we're gonna check it. We're gonna check this. We're gonna open it up, and we're gonna see if the onions are actually dry and light, no moisture. If they aren't, it allows us to add more drying time. If not, we're gonna stop it, take them out, put them in an airtight container. But I'm gonna show you how to do this. We now have a bucket that we talked about earlier, because what happens is it has water in it from freezing. So it's gonna drain all that water into this bucket. So we're gonna go over all this. So right now we have 2 minutes left until we're done. I could cancel it right now, but I'm just gonna let it run so you can see what it looks like. And while we're waiting, I just wanna say, because I keep forgetting to do this because I don't think about it, but if you could subscribe to our channel, that would be great, and hit the notification bell. That would be awesome, because we like you to watch and we like to do this for you. Okay, so back to freeze drying. 1 minute and 25 seconds. We have everything that we need, the bucket. I already have my airtight container with the funnel and a wooden spoon. A lot of y'all commented, hey, don't use metal because it's so loud on your video, or you're gonna ruin your pans. And I'm thinking, why didn't I think of that? I used to have a lot of wooden utensils, and I guess over the years they just disappeared, broke, I don't know, but I have a new set. So thank you to all who left that comment. All right, less than a minute left. Okay, process complete. Open drain valve to vent, and then it's gonna ask us, do we no defrost? So that means we would just open it and let it run out normally, more dry time, or defrost. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna come over here to our drain valve, and we're gonna open this up. Okay, if that drain valve is not open, you will not be able to open your door. There's just too much pressure. Okay, so we're gonna open our door. We're gonna pull out a tray, and they are warm because it says 124 degrees, but it's not gonna burn you. Okay, so let's take a look at these onions. They are light. Let me use my other hand so you can see what I'm doing here. See how I just cracked? They're crunchy. They are ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these out. I'm going to hand these to my brother. Yeah, and if you're sensitive to heat, it might bother you a little bit, but otherwise it really doesn't. So we're going to take these out. Now, if you wanted to, you could just leave the door open. I don't know if you can see all the ice around here, but if you wanted to, you could just leave this door open and turn it off. Just put no defrost. If whatever you're freeze drying is not ready, you could close this up, close your valve, and say more dry time. We're going to say defrost. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to hit defrost. Oh, up here it actually says warm trays, so that's to warm. Okay. Okay, yesterday when we were doing this, I said, take time. See, I pressed it and it didn't do anything. So yesterday when I told you, don't press the button twice, just wait a minute, this is what you do. So it's telling me, because I want to defrost, keep the drain valve open, remove product from dryer, and close the door. And that's what we did. Continue. So now it's saying defrosting chamber, keep door closed. It's going to take about 2 hours, and it's going to thaw all that ice out. It's all going to be in a bucket. If for some reason we wanted to stop, you can end it now. Or you can change the amount of time that you want it to defrost. So this freeze dryer tells you everything to do. Defrosting chamber. It's defrosting. So we do not need to be here. We're going to go to our onions and we're going to put them in an airtight container. Okay, I put all of mine in an airtight container. You see the seal around it. If I use a mason jar, I make sure I put an oxygen absorber in there. I just don't feel like mason jars are as airtight as these are. So I have this funnel, and I'm going to take my wooden spatula, and we're just going to, usually I use a different kind of spatula, but I wanted to use my new wooden utensils. So we're going to put this all in here. I do better with my hands. If your hands are clean, just do it with your hands. But you will need the funnel. They'll go everywhere. Here I am saying use a funnel, and I'm not. I usually do it with my diced onions because there's plenty of room for them. So that's something else to take into consideration. All right, I'm gonna go get another one, and I'll be right back. This time I'm gonna put it in a mason jar. Let me get my smaller one. So I have two. This is not a wide mouth, so that's why it wouldn't take it. And if I crush these, they're gonna all break. So let's just gently put them in there, because the whole point of slicing them was so that you had sliced onions. And again, when you open these to use them, you want to get in and out as quick as possible. You don't want the moisture in your air to rehydrate them. Okay? And you can put an oxygen absorber in there. Like I said, and this is not like dehydrating. Dehydrating, you need to wait a week conditioning to make sure that there's no moisture. There's no moisture in these. But I do put an oxygen absorber in my mason jars because there was a time when I had blueberries go bad. Actually, it was in a Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber, and I don't know how that happened. So I'm going to put this away, and then I'm going to show you a few other things that I've already freeze dried. Okay, so I'm going to put the sliced ones back here that we just did, and I want to show you some stuff that I've already freeze dried. These are diced onions. And I can get a lot in here. I probably could have gotten all the onions into one, but again, they're sliced. Boy, when I go to cook something and it needs onions, I just take the amount that I want, put it in whatever I'm cooking, and I'm done. This is celery. Same thing. You want to put it in something like, let's say, potato salad, and you want celery in it. What I usually do is take this and put it in the mayonnaise and the liquid and let it sit there for a few minutes, and then put it all on top of the potato salad. These are carrots, and you're probably looking at it going, they're not very orange. Well, carrots have a lot of moisture. So when you take that moisture out, they will start to get more of a white color. But I will tell you that when you do use these, say you're making something that takes onion, celery, and carrots, like chicken and dumplings, stew, these taste like carrots. And so you'll be surprised at how fast these rehydrate. So I just want to give you a few examples that can make your life easier, not only because you no longer have to chop, because you do have to chop to get ready to freeze dry, but these last a really long time. And the second thing is, if you have a bunch of onions sitting there fixing to go bad, or you have celery in your refrigerator fixing to go bad, or carrots that are not getting eaten, you can now preserve this. And these are going to last years. So this is the great thing about freeze drying. One, the convenience, the time saver. Once you get them freeze dried, these last a long time. Two, you're preserving food. You're not wasting your food. You get to keep it. So now you can see there's something on sale. Maybe you don't grow a garden, but you have celery's on sale. You can go get a whole bunch of that and preserve it, and you've saved money. So, like I said, it took me a while to decide if I wanted a freeze dryer because they are a bit pricey, but in the long run, it's really paid for itself. The amount of food that was going to be wasted is not wasted, so it's paid for itself. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know how great this is. It can also do fruit, so we'll probably do a video with some fruit. It does a lot of things. You can freeze dry anything except maybe honey, mayonnaise, and there's a few other things that I'll... Mayonnaise, honey, peanut butter.
Who freeze dries mayonnaise?
Well, I'm sure somebody tried to freeze dry mayonnaise and it didn't work.
Oh, what the...
I wouldn't, but you know, there's people out there that try. And that's how we know we can't. So good for them. Anyway, thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, let me know. And we'll see you next time on the Kindred Way. Say bye, brother.
Bye, everybody.